my experience with Melissa and the Gorgas, because what has been interesting is I was reading some TikTok and someone was saying how they felt that the Gorgas was always protected. And again, I didn't work on the show the moment the Gorgas got on the show, so I don't know that. I can tell you season 1 and 2, nobody was protected, which is why everybody made great television, from Danielle to Teresa to Caroline to Jacqueline to Dina. Everybody's shit was on the table, literally on the table, and it got flipped. So there seems to be this, I'm not gonna say campaign, because to me, campaign sounds like it's intentional, but it's interesting that the House of Cards is crumbling when it comes to Melissa and Joe. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, to your point, Melissa all of a sudden is working overtime to change the narrative. And it makes you wonder, is there some truth in what these people are saying?
Yes. And I think it's a lot of things. I think, look, people love a mob mentality. We had Erica Jane, then we had Lisa Rinna. It's like, you know, you love that mob mentality, but I feel it. Maybe it's just because I'm focused on Jersey, because here I am, but I feel it with Melissa. And yes, she's working overtime. Is there truth? And then it's almost like you work overtime when you really feel, wait a second, I'm smart and I know how this works. Just like Lisa Rinna, like, this might be the end for me. Like, do you think this could be Melissa's last season?
Well, this is what's interesting. I would have never thought in a million years, and this is a confirmation that this is why Lisa Rinna's gone. When Kathy Hilton said, either Lisa Rinna or me, I'm somebody who worked for that franchise for 10 years. That's the kiss of death. Like, well, bye, because we will never give you the impression that you control the show. So when I heard that, I was like, oh, that's the kiss of death. Bye, Kathy. It was a nice run. When she said that, and then a month or two later, Lisa Rinna got fired, I said, that's not a coincidence to me. Teresa has said on my podcast, everywhere, I am done with the Gorgas. I'm done with my brother. I'm done with Melissa. I will never speak to them again. If Teresa still feels that way, I don't see a world to where Melissa and Joe can come back from that. You need Teresa. Because at the end of the day, it's this. Teresa is in this interesting position that I've never seen before. Because Kyle is the face of Beverly Hills. But Kyle never has a villain era. Because Kyle likes to, of course, be nice and likable. Teresa doesn't give a fuck. You see Teresa like, oh, bitch, that was mean. Or, oh, shit, Teresa has been Queen Bee, Miss Congeniality, a villain, all those things. And she has stood above ground. Melissa has always tried to come across as America's sweetheart. And because Teresa gives a lot to the show that Melissa can't even imagine giving 10% of that, they're going to choose, if it comes down to it, they're going to choose Teresa over Melissa any day of the week.
100%. I say all the time, I think Teresa is the #1 most protected housewife in the whole all the franchises. Number one.
I agree. Her and Kyle to me are neck and neck.
Kyle is #2 to me. Like, yeah,
agreed.
I think, you know, you fire Vicky, you fire Rinna. I mean, we'll fire anyone. Teresa never, and Kyle is a close second. And I literally don't think there's anyone else everyone else can be fired. I say the exact same thing.
Yeah. And look, Bethany and Lisa Vanderpump would have been on that list if they did not quit. You would have to quit the show. If Bethany picked up the phone today and said, I changed my mind, they'd be like, contract, make it work. If Lisa Vanderpump says, I want to come back, contract, make it work. And they will never get fired. But because they decide to quit, that's that reason. But yes, Kyle and Teresa will never get fired.
Never. That's it. Never. So I agree. And I think even if Teresa doesn't give them an ultimatum, to your point, because you said this on Heather McDonald's show, that you think that Harry and his brother are going to make up before. I agree with you. Kim and I say this all the time. Like, it's like, if you even listen in interviews, Teresa is like, look, I wish them the best of luck. Like, I'm just really, like, when she sat there and looked across the table and told Kathy and Rosie that they were cancer, and Kathy and Rosie said, so like, I don't understand, like, you want nothing to do with us. And she's like, she could barely say it. She actually felt bad, but she's like, I don't want anything to do with you. She's actually very calm. If you listen to interviews, she's like, it's nothing personal. I'm really done with them. And she's really done. She's done.
And I know her personally. So I'm glad you said that. She was calm. She was like, I'm just done. And when she said it to me on my podcast, I was like, oh, I believe you. I believe you. You're done. And the reason why she really is done is two reasons. It's because her brother, and this is what I will say. And again, I don't know the Gorgas, but I have common sense. I do feel like the Gorgas would have done anything to make a good show at Teresa's expense. I do believe that. And when Teresa said, because what people don't know, David, Teresa doesn't watch the show. She does not watch episodes. When Teresa is done filming, and guys, listen to me. When Teresa is done filming, she goes back to her life. She doesn't do a lot of press unless it's leading up to the premiere. She wakes up, cooks for the kids. She picks them up from school. She goes to every dance recital. She's a mom. She doesn't watch the show. When she said to me, Carlos, I started watching old episodes and I saw what my brother said about me. So it was confirmation to her that, and she said this to me, if I would have known then what they were saying about me, I would have never continued on filming with them. She's done.
And two things. Yeah. I mean, I've been at filmings like in the past 3-4 years when it's cut, the girls, Margaret, Melissa, they'll stay, they'll drink, it's a party, like it's a free party. Let's stay. The minute it's at Teresa is the mic pack. She's very nice about it. She'll place the mic. It's like the girl is out the door with it. She's which I listen, that's why, love her or hate her, it is authentic because she is herself. It really is a job. She gives it authentically, and then she just goes back to her life. And also, if you see things with Melissa and Joe with like interviews, they're not saying, and then we'll wrap up, they're not saying the same thing that Teresa's saying. They're not saying, let's be best friends, but they are. I think they understand the writings on the wall. They're saying like, oh, and like, we'll see. And like, I think they would gladly pull back and try to make amends and go to this wedding. And just, if they could, I think they realize, holy shit, 1.5 is going away. I do. I think Melissa realizes that she might be losing her big paycheck and the fame. I mean, she'll always be famous, but you know what I'm saying? Like you said, life after Housewives.
But there's no life
not the
after.
Same.
There's not the same. And listen, Melissa needs to, and this is why you got to be smart. Melissa, you were on Ultimate Girls Trip with Teresa. That would have been a signal to me, David. We will always be a package deal. Like, I can't do anything without her. And I think Melissa, who's gorgeous, great body, she's good to look at. I think she tries so hard to get out of Teresa's shadow that she really tried to have her own moments on the show, cultivate her own friendships with Margaret and Jackie. I will say this, my opinion, we could end here, but tell me your opinion, and Kim D's. Because we know that Jackie got demoted, do you really think Melissa is still going to cultivate that friendship with Jackie?
Kim D says it all the time. And then we'll add that it's, what friendships are real on this show? No, I don't. I really don't. To be honest with you, I don't even know if, she would keep up with I, from what I've observed, I mean, I'm not talking that, I think Margaret and Jackie are probably close as real friends. And I'm not sure Melissa, I mean, no offense to anyone involved, I'm not sure Melissa and Margaret would be like this.
No.
Should Margaret would be off the show one day, but I don't think that. I just think this, I think I said it about Lisa Rinna at the beginning of the season, and then I changed my mind. I want to go on record. I think this is Melissa's last season. I really do.
Yeah, yeah. Listen. And I'm going to co-sign that. And I listen. I think Joe can get on his knees and cry to his sister and beg for forgiveness and say, I'm sorry. I think because Teresa finally found love again and she has a man to protect her, I think Teresa is like too little, too late. Because I think even if Teresa's, because that's her sibling, even if her heart felt bad for her sibling, her fucking, like she said, her only family, I think her husband would remind her that you know why he's doing this. I think Teresa's done. I don't see them ever having a relationship. Sad, listen, that's sad because that's her only family. But she is building her own family with Lewis and his children and the blended family. So kudos to Teresa for finally finding love and finding a family that respects her.
I agree with all of that. Where can everyone find you and listen to your amazing podcast? You need to come back. I have to go do a Miami. I have to talk to a Miami housewife now who I'm already late